welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Bellomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law, and well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. Now, on today's podcast, we are going to be talking squarely about estate planning and elder law, as I am talking to one of my dearest of friends, Roslyn. Roslyn, how you doing today?
So good. How are you, Jeff?
Oh, I am excellent. So this is the second time that Roslyn has been on the podcast. And for those of you who know, she is the director of marketing at Bellomo and Associates, one of my dearest friends in the entire world. And I am so excited to have her here today. We got a lot of great feedback from the first podcast that we did. People love that we were able to go back down memory lane to, I'll call it young Jeff. I don't know if, but yeah. Yeah. So we'll probably do a little bit of that, but it was just a very popular podcast that people enjoyed. And I know Roz and I love it. And it's so fun for us to have an opportunity to talk as well. So before we get into the podcast, I just want to remind our listeners, please do not take what you hear from this show or any other show for that matter to constitute legal advice. If you are looking for legal advice, please contact an attorney licensed in the state that you reside in, who practices law in the area of law that you are looking for advice in. And after you meet with them and discuss the facts specific to your situation, then and only then should you constitute that to be legal advice. This show and any other shows should be used for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only, but it's certainly okay to learn from it, just that you don't want to take it as legal advice pertaining to your specific situation. If you are looking for education in the areas of estate planning in a pre-planning context, or Medicaid crisis planning, life care planning, post-death administration, or special needs trusts or special needs planning, please call the office at 717-845-5390. That's 717-845-5390, or check us out on the web at www.bellomoassociates.com. That's B as in boy, ELLOMO, associates spelled out with an S.com. All right. So, Roz, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Do you have that memorized?
I do.
Roll through that so well.
I do. I think we're over our 110th podcast or something like that. So I'm starting to get the hang of it now. So yeah, but it rolls off the top of my tongue. So really looking forward to this podcast. Who knows where the heck it'll take us, which is always the fun part when you and I get together. So I figured we'd kind of just see where the wind takes us today and get into a little bit. I know on the last podcast, we sort of talked about where we originally met with the national organization and kind of walked through the journey of us kind of getting to where we are today together as you as the director of marketing. Is there anything else that stands out to you from that, or?
No, just that, it's been so fun, right? Like, it's just been so much fun. I'm so grateful for you for just the fun that we have along the way, which it's not easy though, right? It's not
No.
ever easy. And I just am grateful for the journey and to be kind of behind the part of it that to me is so important, just getting, people to find us.
Yeah. Which that's actually one of the things I was going to ask you about was, if somebody was to say okay, you're the director of marketing at a law firm, like, what does that mean? In layman's terms, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I first of all would tell them that it's with an estate elder law attorney as opposed to, like we're not out doing all the things that I think so often attorneys get a bad rap for, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so I kind of like, oh, but it's an estate and elder law attorney, right? Because I love this space so incredibly much. But that's it. It's just that, how do you get people to trust, the messaging and, stopping the scroll and like just to get them to take that next step. That's, it's scary. I think it's scary for people. And so, yeah, just being able to kind of be behind that and seeing, how it works and with you on the forefront.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're essentially, I mean, as far as it relates to the estate planning and elder law firm, I mean, you are handling everything from the overseeing of the marketing and the, what type of ads are we going to be doing? What kind of marketing messages? What kind of times are we going to be spending networking groups? I mean, you're overseeing 100% of all of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It is. It's crazy. And it's a lot and it just keeps getting harder, like and I
Yeah.
know you right, like it used to be, 7 touches and you would be okay and they would get what the value that you created and they would pick up the phone and ask the question. And it's just a lot harder now, with social media and AI and
Yeah.
the internet and smartphones in our hands and geo targeting and retargeting and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot, but it's fun and we have such an amazing team that
Yeah.
really truly, I mean, at the highest level has the firm's back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at any one time, I mean, you look at who is in the marketing team for us. I mean, you're looking at 5 full-time people, uh, and it's at times it's more depending on who you're counting, and if you're counting outsourcing, you've got part-time, you've got other companies involved. I mean, it is just an operation that I don't think most people uh, even have any idea around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the number of vendors, right, that we're constantly managing, having conversations with, getting on the same page with the team, the analytics, all of that. Yeah. It's a lot. I joke around pretty often and I tell people it's very much like playing whack-a-mole in the morning. Like you a lot of times kind of wake up and you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
The link is broken. What happened to so there's a lot of, playing whack-a-mole. And then another thing that I joke around with a lot is I tell people, I think people just think we mess around on Facebook all day long.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think that is what people think. I mean, it's even internally, I mean, within the firm, I don't think that people understand what goes into it, and the kind of balls that you're juggling. I mean, I always akin it to kind of like being a juggler with having 5, 6, 7 balls in the air. And, certainly I've said 1,000 times that I would not want to be uh a person who answers the phones. I mean, that would be very, very, very difficult for me, given my strengths, given my weaknesses. But right behind that would be your role. I don't think I have the skill set. I've always said to you, I don't fancy myself as a marketer, and I certainly don't know the numbers and the details and the analytics like you do. I mean, I take direction very well.
You're great. You're great. I couldn't think of another person to be on the forefront of everything. Like
Oh,
and the people that answer the phones, right?
yeah,
Like those two are so crucial to the overall success of people getting help,
yeah,
when they need it the most. Like you guys are delivering all day long
yeah,
to
yeah,
the marketing department, having like
yeah, and it,
emails that come in and
yeah,
the stories and all that. I'm like, you all make what we do. And it's really hard. And you're right, right? Like I just want to even bring up yesterday we did what was the name of the training?
oh, mental toughness.
Mental toughness. And when they were talking about like, what's really happening versus your perception of what's happening, in marketing, we're defined, the majority of us, right? We're defined by our numbers. And those numbers dip, and you're like, holy smoke, what's going on? What are we doing wrong? Right?
Yeah,
What did we miss? Oh my gosh. But then you guys, like you showing up so powerfully and just giving these people solutions to, I mean, the most important decisions that they can make and the people on the front lines
yeah,
answering the phone in such a compassionate way that they feel acknowledged and heard makes everything I do so much
yeah. You kind of touched on it a little bit. I mean, one of the things that I know we talked about last time on the podcast, but you mentioned this to me all the time. I mean, you work with a lot of lawyers, and over the years, certainly the numbers are staggering. But even within the last couple of years, I know that you've worked with a lot of estate planning and elder law firms doing similar stuff. And I've asked you numerous times about a post that goes out that may have a similar message. Do you get the same interactions? Do you get the same feedback and the same kind of interaction with the community? And I'm always amazed that sometimes you answer no.
easier. No.
That's And that you've said to me on numerous occasions, Jeff, you make it easy. I don't know why that is, and I don't fully understand that. So what would make it easier or harder depending on who the person is? I guess is a very genuine question.
Yeah. So you're not only are you present, but you show your presence with how much you care when you are present. So just an example of that, right, would be and we've talked about this before, right? Like when you're trying to build this following of people that, and the main thing we're trying to do is just build know, like, and trust. And we're just trying to get people to have an awareness of what we do. And, we'll get comments on things, and you yourself will, show up and reply. Now, we can't do in the marketing department, we can't do better than you, right? Like replying. So let's say it's a friend of yours from college that replies. I mean, we could give a canned response and say thank you, great, or whatever, but you'll show up and you'll make that, hey brother, how are you? It's fun, and so you authentically show up. And I think that even more so now than ever, that's what people are craving right now in this world of automation, AI, all of that. But you've always done that, right? And if I tell you, Jeff, just show up over here and you be you, I mean, you do it. Like I'm like, hey, you're going to drive an hour and a half. You just did this. Let's use that as an example. You're going to drive an hour and a half and you're going to show up at this recording studio and you're just going to show up and be you. And we didn't even have to prepare you for one thing. You were like, okay, fine. And then you're like, I'm here and they're letting you in, and you just show up and be you. And there's nothing that we can do better than you just showing up.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
out. It is.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday a little bit at the retreat that we had with the team about one of the things I'm struggling with is that I don't have the time right now built into the calendar because I'm doing so many meetings and different responsibilities for the firm, and as part of the marketing team and also the attorney in the office handling most of the meetings, to be able to check in on team members. And that's very, very difficult for me. But a very close second behind that is the time that I spend on social media. I mean, like you've mentioned, I mean, for years, I still do it, but I'm doing it a lot more on Facebook and a lot more on Twitter, as opposed to I don't have as much time right now on LinkedIn. But I am the one who responds to a lot. I mean, I won't say 100%, but I lay in bed at night. But nowadays, with as late as I'm working, I tend to just get in bed and fall asleep. But I miss it. Like I miss that piece. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get you back there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's coming. It's coming for sure. So, all right. So what would be the easy part, right? I mean, you certainly know marketing better than anybody in the country in an estate planning and elder law context. Working with me makes it slightly easier because I can show up. You don't need to prep me too much. I tend to be fairly good on my feet, genuine, authentic. I'm using words that I've heard you use. What would be What's the hard part? I mean, obviously, if it were easy, everybody would be a director of marketing at an estate planning and elder law firm. So what is the hardest part? And it maybe has changed. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's different than what you would have answered it 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think that the hardest part by far is, people not finding us that then we see went maybe someplace else, and then they're coming back to us. Or, the people who, they don't do anything at all. And then the family comes to us. I always want to go in and like go back to those people and be like, what did we miss? What did we not say? Right? What could we have done to have gotten you to take that step? This is a scary place to be, right?
Yeah.
It's a scary conversation. I mean, we do it all day long, right? Like we're
Right.
in it. We're in the trenches, we're in the weeds, and we get it. But I always use one of my really dear friends as an example here. We had lost a really, really close friend of ours. It's going to be coming up on 3 years next year.
Oh,
Our age, we were 54 when it happened, and she picked up the phone and she said, "Why didn't you tell me what you did?" And I was like, I did. So when people don't like, you can say it, but do they hear it? Right.
Yeah.
And so that's hard in the marketing space because you
Yeah.
kind of be careful with how you say it. You got to be really, really clear with what they need to do to kind of get to that educational workshop that we offer. And it's kind of scary. So I think that's the hardest part. And
Okay.
then the icing on the cake is probably the misinformation that you see from other people, when they're just trying to get people to take this step and you're like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like don't do that. Like that part of it I think is the hardest part. And then just keeping up with all the new stuff, right? I
Yeah.
think it's named off four things, but
So the first part about the messaging and people hearing it, is it that we're not getting in front of people, or is it that even if we get in front of people, making sure that they hear what we do and understand the importance of it?
that's it,
Oh,
right?
that part. Okay.
Yeah, like even sometimes somebody had questioned, we were in the chat for marketing and they're like, why wouldn't we say this term? Like it
Mm.
was in the weeds term. And I was like, well, because we're putting it in a general ad. And I don't think that people know what that term means. I love it sometimes because that's buzzy and it's disruption. It's
Oh,
really disruptive, but I also you got to be really clear with wait, this is what we do, right? The estate planning elder law space and not muddy it with a law. So yeah, I think that it's hard for people to really truly have an understanding of everything
yeah.
that we can help with, like every bit of it, right? Is hard.
Yeah. I had a very similar answer. I was actually asked by a client within the last week or two, what's your biggest competition? And I said, it isn't other lawyers who do what we do. There are very, very few who know the stuff that we know and have the expertise that we have. I think it's the exact opposite. I think that it's because there are so few of us who know how to do this, particularly in, the York, Lancaster, Adams County markets, Harrisburg, Cumberland, in Pennsylvania. Um, and then you get the general practice attorneys who kind of do everything, jumping in the arena. And then you get financial planners and accountants who are jumping in the arena using buzzwords
Yeah.
to get people to workshops. And there's so much misinformation. That was a word that you just used a few minutes ago. I, you know, and I know it sounds crazy, but if there were several established people doing the same thing, it would probably make it easier because people would know the information and know what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
I know you and I were talking to a financial planner that we're, fairly close with, and he brings in all these ads that he's getting from his clients, from financial planners and accountants who are hosting estate planning workshops.
Mhm.
And I don't understand. That's the unauthorized practice of law. Like I don't even understand how they're doing it. And then in the context of what they're trying to do is to get them in so that they can sell annuities and they can sell products and sell things. And then because they hosted estate planning, I think they feel obligated to draft a will or something so that they're at least giving them something. And I remember when we asked him, he said that the direct mail company said that that is what people are responding to.
Yep, that's where they're responding to, and that's what they'll show up for. And it's just so sad, right? Like if I think about the people that I love the most going down that path, and I'm like, oh, it's just heartbreaking. I think because you nailed it. I love what you just said, how you're like, it's not even necessarily the competition,
No.
it's the confusion in the marketplace and the people that are out there intentionally causing it.
Well, you and I have had this conversation in a lot of our marketing meetings where you will say, all right, hey, I'm looking at, this law firm or looking at this attorney, and I'm like that, but they don't do what we do. They're not a competitor to us. And you're like, yeah, but that's what they're showing up. I'm like, I fully understand that, but it's comparing apples to oranges. And I almost wish there were more because I think that would make it much easier for a consumer. I've told story after story about people who, particularly when we're talking about asset protection or we're talking about Medicaid crisis, going to lawyers who advertise and are told nothing can be done. And some of them listen, and then some do get a second opinion and they come to us and we protect the assets. But I think, how many people didn't go get a second opinion? How many people never ended up in our office to learn that something can be done, that are out hundreds of thousands. And, shame on the lawyers, shame on the people who believe. Now, I will say, I think in their heart, they believe they know what they're doing. I genuinely believe that. I don't think it's a malicious thing. I don't think it's a pulling one over. I think that what happens is we as lawyers go to continuing legal education classes and we listen to a person in a room who is hiding stuff because they don't want to train their competitor locally. And most of these local CLEs are put on by members of the same bar that you're in. And so you're teaching them exactly what the rules are,
Yeah, that makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
But as an attorney who's trying to learn what you do, all I hear is that a person has to be spent down to $2,400 or $8,000 to qualify.
Yeah.
And why am I so confident that this is what happens? Because it happened to me 20 some years ago when I went to a CLE. It was on Medicaid. I learned you had to spend down to $2,400 or $8,000. I meet a client a week or two later. They ask if anything can be done. I said you had to spend down to $2,400 or $8,000. I wasn't a bad human.
Yeah. No, that's what
I,
you do.
I knew. That's exactly what that gentleman told me in the room that day. That's exactly what I learned. And then, of course, a few years later, I go to this session and, from the organization that you and I belong to, and I'm learning, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like, I cannot believe that all of this can be done. I cannot believe that I was wrong. And so
And
that's
you
what's hard,
put that into perspective, right? Like that was a 2 day intensive. Everybody that would go to that would come out and be like, holy smokes, are you kidding me? And
right?
paralyzed almost because they're like, this was like fire hose training. Now what do I do? Right.
Yeah.
So compare the two. That's so interesting, Jeff. You were probably like, oh my goodness, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was asked to speak at those local ones and I refused only because I had trained nationally for so many years and I know what the value is. I know how much I spent. I mean, I spent the last 20 grand I had on a line of credit to be able to get to that event, to be able to watch the session for the week, to be able to get home and to be able to get the software. And it was the biggest gamble of my life and also the biggest investment of my life and probably the best decision of my life outside of, marrying my wife and deciding to have our beautiful daughter. I mean, but for somebody who is local, who isn't going to get outside the area locally, you're not going to learn that kind of stuff. And so I think they are trying to do the best. I truly believe that. But that's where I think when we're talking about competition, it's that misinformation. It's that. I mean, we even know of the one group who is financial planners. Clients were telling the financial advisor that for an additional like $1,500, they will write an intent to return home letter that they can use when they end up in Medicaid. But they didn't tell the client that all that does is postpone the state getting paid back and that there's a lien and that you didn't actually do anything and that there's other ways to protect it. And I believe that they are thinking they're providing a service, right?
Yeah.
They're working with a law firm in other parts of the country that isn't licensed in Pennsylvania. They don't understand that Pennsylvania allows these other things. I do believe that they think they're doing a good thing. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I think of that as like when you need a specialist, right?
Yeah.
When something's going wrong and you're like, I don't know what this is. And your general practitioner's like, I don't either, but I'm going to send you over to this guy who's
Yeah.
a specialist in that particular area. Like, I just think that the estate planning arena, right? Like it's so, I guess, right? You work your tail off for a thing, and your family's the most important thing. Like you don't want to compromise when it gets to how do I protect this stuff or what do I want to happen,
Right.
right? And so that's the place where you're like, I need to go see a specialist. I need to get into the hands of somebody, and this is all that they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've talked to some attorneys and said, refer to us. We'll refer the stuff that you do to you. And then we can have a referral arrangement because we are so specialized and so narrow on what we're doing on a regular basis. And the answer that I hear every now and then is, well, yeah, but I can get paid for that. Well, but you don't know how to do it. So, so you can't get paid for something that you don't know how to do. There has to be a level of competency. But I think in their heads, they think they have it. I really do. And that's how people are getting hurt,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
That's
So,
hard, right? That's the
yeah,
part that I'm telling you that's so hard when you see that happen. You're like, "Oh,
I know. I know. I mean, I've talked to people who are very upset when they've lost a lot of money. And, they've said to me, well, how would we know? I mean, they held themselves out as an estate planning attorney. And to me, it's all the same. And, I don't have a great answer. I, I really don't, other than, I'm very sorry that that happened and that your family lost all that money. And so you're telling me that you could have protected. Yeah, yeah, I am, and it's tough. I don't know what to do. We certainly, um, do our best to get the message out, right? I mean, I think that we spend a lot of time, energy, emotion, intentionality around getting the message out. And at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do.
yeah, right." That's the hardest part.
Hmm.
That's a full circle moment. That's the
It
hardest.
is. It is, right? I mean, that just circled back to the question, right? That
Yeah,
is absolutely, and obviously, if we had an easy answer, we would have hit the easy button. So,
right? Yes. The
no,
magic bullet. The magic
yeah,
bullet. Yeah.
we don't. And I had a client meeting today, with a client who has been a client of ours for probably 13 years. I mean, they were one of the original members of our Red Wagon Club, and very big raving fans of the firm and of what we do. And they're thinking of upgrading to some trust planning after the annual meeting that we had in the last couple weeks. And they're in a will-based plan currently, and they're upgrading. But they had done a lot of research before coming in today and on Google. And, Dr. Google told them that in trust, you can't be this and you can't do that. And it has to be in a separate tax ID number, and you can't be the trustee, and you can't have control, and you can't have say, and you have to pay higher trust tax rates. And, um, I smiled and said, wow, I didn't know that you had more than $30 million. And they said, we don't have more than $30 million. I said, I know, but that's the problem. That's what you learned about. So even well-intentioned people who are doing research, um, are learning the wrong, incorrect information. So you talk about, as a consumer, what do you even
Yeah.
believe and
Yeah.
trust?
And now there's AI out there that can do all this other scary stuff, right? That you're
Mm.
like, "Ooh, do not do the DIY," because there's just so much to it. There really
Yeah.
it's just not worth the risk. Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out, right? I've said that for years. And if you
Yeah.
don't know all the answers, you're the one putting the pieces into the puzzle, or, into
Yeah.
the information. So if you're putting the
Yeah.
wrong information in, you're going to get the wrong information out.
Yeah. We get a lot of leads weekly for people not even looking for estate planning attorneys. And we literally put negative keywords. We have
Wow.
negative, like don't show up for people that say family law attorney. Don't show up for somebody who's looking for criminal defense. And we still get the lead. And it's so interesting to me. That just shows you the end user, like where they are in the discovery process.
Yeah.
Not even knowing the difference between family law and estate planning. So
Yeah.
there's a massive curve and there's a massive amount of information in between that starting point. Right. So we do a free workshop. So I always am like, what happened there? Like you can come learn for free.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I think people are just so skeptical though, too, right? Like I have definitely had people walk in that room and before I even begin say to me, nothing is free. What is this really going to cost me? 2 hours of your time. I mean, I don't believe that. No, I promised. And I'll give you another workshop for absolutely free. Like, but you're so trained to not trust anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Well deserved. I mean, I'm not suggesting that people don't have a reason to feel that way, but it is hard to actually say something is free and it really be free. And they don't want to believe it.
Yeah. I
So
mean, you can come in and you can just leave with the information and we're okay with it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The line that I use is you can fist pump me on the way out the door and thank me for my time, you know,
And you get
and you get a really good cookies. Yeah. But we do have some amazing cookies in our offices. They are phenomenal. So, well, Roz, as I fully anticipated, our 30 minutes has flown by.
yes.
We have to do a part three now because I have some other things I want to talk to you about. So
Good.
we'll get
Okay.
that scheduled, and I look forward to it. And I do want to just take a minute here and thank our listeners. Having Rosalind here with me, Roz and I definitely take the marketing at the Bellomo and Associates firm really personally. It's the two of us. It always has been, and it always will be. And um, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of shows out there. So thank you for believing in us and trusting in us and listening. We really appreciate it.
Yes, beyond measure. Absolutely. Like just looking at the numbers and consuming video and podcasts, it just warms my heart, right? To provide all this information. Like I look at it so often, I'm, oh my goodness. So
Yeah,
every,
when we get our analytics from Emma, I believe, right? When we get those analytics every month, I just smile and I see the podcast and the consumption of all the platforms, and I'm like, wow, like people trust us and believe in us to this is rely on us as the experts. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And if you're looking for any of our free workshops, please check us out at 717-845-5390 or on the web at www.bellomoassociates.com. And thank you for being here at the Red Wagon.
thank you.
I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you guys again. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.